This is Los Angeles 911. My name is Samuel Reyes. I've been a call taker for almost 10 years, but it only took 2 nights for me to never sleep soundly again. This isn't a made-up story. It's not a movie script. It's a story, a true account, taken from the depths of the night shift. You might think 911 calls are always predictable. Accidents, robberies, domestic disputes. But sometimes what crosses the line isn't meant for this world. Today, I'm going to share with you 2 phone calls that changed my life. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice they're connected by something ancient and dark. If you hear this at night, I recommend turn on a light, close the doors tightly, and don't answer calls from unknown numbers. Let's begin. It was 2:17 in the morning. The city outside seemed suspended in time, a viscous, almost artificial silence. On the screen in front of me, a new call flashed. Line 4. Address, Sunset Plaza Drive, Hollywood Hills. Type of occurrence, suspicious activity on the perimeter of the residence. I answered with the firmest voice I could muster at that time of night. Central 911, what is your emergency? The answer came, shakily. It was a woman. Her voice was weak, choked with fear. The whisper of the wind against the windows of the house could be heard, and something else. A hesitation, a silent wait between the words. There's someone outside. I saw him. He's standing on the porch. I asked her to calm down and follow protocol. Name, number of people in the house, whether the doors were locked, and most importantly, whether it was safe to look out the window. Meanwhile, my eyes scanned the digital map. Sunset Plaza, million-dollar homes, steep hills, surrounded by dense trees and little street lighting. Terrain ripe for accidents or hiding places. I've connected the ambulance system. Estimated arrival time, 8 minutes. Too long, when fear becomes physical. Ma'am, can you see better who it is? Is there anyone with you in the house? Silence. Just the sound of the ceiling fan spinning, and a crack, like old wood being pressed together. Then she replied, almost in a whisper, "He isn't out there anymore." The sentence gave me chills. There had been something wrong with that call from the beginning, but in that moment, I felt the true weight of the situation. What do you mean? Can you explain better? The connection wavered. I heard only fragments. Car light, disappeared. I checked the address history. No recent occurrences. Nothing alarming. But something about that voice, the way she spoke, like she was trying to maintain her sanity with every word. I spoke again firmly. "Ma'am, are you safe? Are all the doors locked?" She hesitated. "I think so, but the lighthouse went out on its own." And now, silence. A dense, almost solid silence. Until I heard something. Breathing, light, nervous, but too close to the microphone. And then, a new whisper, cold and directionless. "Something is inside the house. Ma'am, can you hear me? How many people are with you? Answer me." No answer, just a presence, I swear. Even through the phone line, it was like something was watching me back. When the line came back on Au, her breathing was labored, not from exertion but from sheer suppressed panic. "Are you still there?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yes, but he disappeared." I saw something, standing on the porch, a shadow, large, still, as if watching me. I tried to conduct the triage protocol. Is anyone hurt? Is there chest pain? Is there shortness of breath? Is anyone fainting? She hesitated. "No, not yet, but I feel like something's wrong with me. My head, my chest, tight." It was enough to keep the medical request going. I registered it as suspected panic attack with possible cardiac factor. I informed her that the ambulance was on its way. "Please," I said, "go to a light, stay visible. You can use your phone's flashlight to check for anything out of the ordinary, without exposing yourself, okay?" Her silence answered before the voice. I don't want to look anymore. I don't want to see. Because when the light came on, he was gone. But I know he's still here. At that moment, the line became strangely heavy, as if something were interfering with the communication. Crackling sounds, little hisses, as if there were a third presence, listening. "Are you alone in the house?" I asked again. The answer was a desperate whisper. He came in. Time stood still. There was no alarm, no broken glass, no screams, just the sound of creaking wood like footsteps, but very, very slow. I tried to keep in touch. Don't move. Stay in the brightest part of the house. The ambulance is just a few minutes away. She didn't respond immediately. Then came a low phrase, as if she were saying only to herself, "The walls are moving." I felt a cold shiver down my spine. She continued, illogically, incoherently. "The shadows, they're not still. They surround me. They're watching me. Interference." Her voice began to distort, slurred, punctuated by an almost metallic hiss. Then a new sound invaded the line, a breath that wasn't hers, heavier, deeper, as if something was using the connection to manifest itself. The woman gasped. "He's behind me." Falling noise, objects being dropped, fast beats. Then, absolute silence. "Madam, please answer me. Madam." There was only static, a sound that seemed far away but present. And then, amidst the noise, a whispered, drawn-out voice that wasn't hers. "Samuel, my name." Out of nowhere. I pulled away slightly from the receiver. That didn't make sense. I'd never told her my name before. For a moment, I was paralyzed. For the first time, I felt like I was being watched from inside the telephone line. There was a weight on the line now. Not a noise, not a technical interference. It was a presence. Something was breathing with me. Something was listening along. "Samuel," that whisper still echoed in my ears like a poison that refused to dissipate. No caller was to know my name. I spoke again, even with my throat tight. "Ma'am, if you can hear me, please answer. The ambulance is very close. 3 minutes. You just need to hold on a little longer." Nothing. Suddenly, a faint sound, like footsteps dragged across a thick carpet. And then her voice, low, unsteady, filled with a kind of dread that can't be faked. "The walls, they're watching me. They stretch. Samuel." Like skin, there was a dull thud, followed by what sounded like scratching on wood, not with nails, but with iron, chains, slowly being pulled, scraping against the ground. I tried to calm her down, even as my own voice began to crack. "Stay where you are. Avoid eye contact with whatever you see. Help is almost here." But she didn't seem to be talking to me anymore. Her words came out as if, converse with another presence. "You came back. I knew you would." The connection wavered. Her voice began to merge with another, feminine, but deeper, distorted, drawn out, like an echo from a deep well. The sentences overlapped, as if two consciousnesses shared the same body. "Samuel, he promised me. You'll see. You'll see what he did to me." Then a new sound arose, a brutal scream, high, desperate, with the kind of pain that comes not from a wound, but from being torn between worlds. After that, the line went dead, not in silence, but with Adri burst, followed by a wave of hiss that spread throughout the entire plant for a fraction of a second. I tried to call back, once, twice, 3 times, no answer. The ambulance arrived on scene shortly after. I confirmed with the paramedic. The house was locked, with signs of intense activity inside, but no visible person. They forced their way in. The ambulance radio called me. "The house seems empty, but there are signs of something strange. Furniture being dragged around, a burning smell, and a mark on the floor. Looks like a star made of ash. Ashes." My blood ran cold. I went back into the system and checked the resident's history. A name appeared in the old file. Marilyn Hart, actress, 1940s, death by mysterious fire, alone at home, body charred, date of death, October 15, 1947, local, Sunset Plaza Drive, Hollywood Hills, the same house. "Are you sure about the name that appeared in the history?" I asked the supervisor, as I frantically typed into the call center's internal system. Marilyn Hart. The name appeared linked to that same address, 78 years earlier. The case note read, "Accidental fire. Victim identified as a lone resident. No survivors." But there was no mention of technical causes. No electrical failure. No conclusive evidence. Just one sentence, written in haste and without explanation. Possible hysteria preceding the fire. Report of unidentified screams. As I read this, the ambulance's communication line reopened. The paramedic spoke in a strange, tense tone. "Samuel, do you hear that? There's a sound coming from the back of the house. Like a chain being dragged." I asked him to describe the place. He hesitated. "Behind the kitchen. There's a short hallway, and at the end of it, an old, cracked mirror, and something written on the glass. Silence. Hissing. Lower voice now. It is written. He promised he would come back." I felt a cold that didn't come from the air conditioning. At the same time, I heard a new communication. It was from the second paramedic, who had stayed in the vehicle. "Something is moving around the yard, but there's no one on the thermal radar. I saw a shadow move, with no source. And then, from the victim's fallen line, something has returned to manifest itself." Even though there was no call, the system screen flashed as if the call was still live. "The audio channel has reopened on your own." And from inside the phone, that voice, the woman's, appeared distorted, in tears, but smiling. "He promised me he would come back." Right away, a scream. Not like before. This time, he didn't look human. It sounded like metal was being ripped apart inside a body, mixed with the laughter of a child and the moan of a dying old man. The noise exploded in my headphones. The line dropped with a final snap, as if the cable had been cut with a rusty blade. I tried to contact the team. Nothing. Seconds later, the paramedics' call came back. "The house is empty. Completely. There's no sign of the woman, but there's something strange. An old photo on the wall. Burns in the corners, as if she survived the fire." "Who's in the picture?" I asked, without even thinking. "She looks like an actress, from the golden age. White dress, old-fashioned hair, empty stare, and something written on the frame." His voice trembled. Handwritten in something dark, maybe dried blood. It says, "To Samuel and with everlasting love." I've never been to that house. I've never heard of it. But the name was there. My name. The house was empty. But the call still pulsated. In the system, even after the ambulance confirms the closure of the incident, the line associated with the call remained open for another 2 minutes. No audio, no data, just Viva. While I waited for the team's report, I opened the Los Angeles Historical Department's digital archive. I searched for the name that echoed like a lament in the back of my mind. Marilyn Hart, second-tier actress from Hollywood's golden age. She was burned to death in her own home in 1947. Her body was found alone in the main room, partially charred, with chain marks around the wrists. The police considered it a tragic accident, but there were rumors. Neighbors said that in the days leading up to the tragedy, Marilyn repeated incoherent sentences, talked to mirrors, and left lights on all night. Some claimed that she was waiting for someone, a man, someone who had left, but who had promised to return. "He promised me," the same phrase I heard hours before. I went back to the ambulance report. Paramedics said the house, although locked, had internal movement marks, furniture pushed, objects knocked over, and in the center of the room, ashes arranged in a spiral shape, with a single melted candle in the center. Nothing was found of the woman who made the call. No fingerprints, no signs of forced entry. The number used was not registered with the operators. It was as if she had never existed. But I remembered the voice, of breathing, from the moment he whispered my name. When I finished the report, I realized something that stopped me in my tracks. In the previous calls tab, that wasn't the first call from that number. He had appeared before, 2 nights before, 3 times. But in all, the call dropped before anyone answered, except me, as if it was trying to find me. I closed the system. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the empty space of the switched-off monitor. Then line 2 started blinking. New call, new address, nothing unusual, except one thing. Local, Cahuenga Boulevard, near Sunset Gower Studios, a few blocks from Marilyn's house. I looked at the clock, 3:45 in the morning. I took a deep breath to wait. 3:45 in the morning. The digital clock above my monitor glowed a dark red. It was the kind of time when time seems to dissolve. The time when reality begins to give way. Line 2 blinked. New call. The kind of occurrence that, at first glance, would not attract attention. Central 911, what is your emergency? The voice on the other end was firm, controlled, a young man, scared, but trying to keep his wits about him. My father. He fell. He fainted suddenly. He's breathing, but he's unresponsive. The protocol automatically triggered in my mind. Patient's age, medical history, medications, length of unconsciousness. Reported location, Cahuenga Boulevard, near the old Sunset Gower Studios, just 4 blocks from Marilyn Hart's house. My hand hesitated over the keyboard. Coincidence? Maybe, but something tightened my chest. The ambulance was dispatched. Estimated time, 7 minutes. Meanwhile, I stayed on the line with my son. What was he doing before he passed out? I asked. I had just woken up, a little confused, whispering things, old names. I seemed delirious. What names? I insisted. Silence on the other side. Then, in a low, almost embarrassed tone, he said Marilyn, several times. The lights in the switchboard room seemed to flicker. A mistake of my tired mind. Maybe, but my skin crawls just remembering it. Can you repeat that? I asked. He said, Marilyn is back. She came to get me. My throat went dry. Coincidence? No. It was the second call involving the same name and the same feeling that something was waking up. I tried to keep calm. Are you with him now? Can you keep the line open? Yes, we're in the hospital corridor, south wing. It's quiet, but there's a strange sound, like a piano, playing far away. Franzi, each piano, at 3:50 in the morning, in the middle of a hospital. He is sure. It's probably nothing. It might just be in my head, but it wasn't, because behind the call, I heard it too. 3 notes. Simple, slow, as if someone were playing with just one finger. Day, see, get, notes of regret. The son continued. He whispers now, says he's here, that something follows him in the halls. Who? I asked. What does he see? The boy hesitated. He doesn't look at me. He looks behind me, always over my shoulder. And then, on the other end of the line, something changed. A faint whisper, not coming from the boy, but of another frequency, of something that shouldn't be there. The voice murmured something, but all I could make out was one word. Samuel. My name. Again. The word hung in the air. Samuel. Low, torn, as if ripped from a throat dead for decades. The patient's son didn't seem to have heard her, or perhaps he pretended not to have heard. Are you still there? I asked. Yes, but the call got weird. For a moment, it sounded like there was someone else on the line. He had no idea. The old man, according to his son, remained with his eyes open, but fixed on something invisible. Whispered names. Not just Marilyn, others, all with a reverent tone, as if calling spirits to a meeting. I asked him to come closer and listen carefully. Father, what are you saying? No immediate response, but the line picked up a faint sound, not a whisper, but a sob, a cry, of a woman. Did you hear that? I asked. Yes, but it wasn't him, and we're alone in the hallway. The sound came from behind the call, as if someone was closer to the microphone than anyone else there. And then, the old man's voice came, hoarse, fragmented, as if struggling against an invisible weight. She's close. I saw her. In the mirrors. Who's nearby? I asked. The phone pressed to my ear. He replied with a name. Marilyn. She wants to finish what she started. The air became dense. I checked the ambulance's registration again. The vehicle number was the same as the previous incident. The same ambulance sent to Marilyn Hart's house had coincidentally been designated or destined for this second call. My throat went dry. The son's voice sounded closer. Something's wrong here. The lights in the hallway started flickering. And it's cold. Very cold. I asked him to move away, to try to find a room with more people. He replied, there's no one else. The whole hospital feels empty. And then, once again, the whisper cut through the line. Come back. To me. The old man began to stir. He fell off the stretcher. A heavy, dry thud. The connection shook. The hissing increased. And the voice of the woman from the first call mixed with his, not like an echo, but like they were merging. Marilyn, mi chama, and then absolute silence. Nothing. No breathing. Not even static. The line went so silent it sounded dead. But even so, something still heard. Central, this is Mobile Unit 042. We've arrived at the hospital. The paramedic's voice sounded strained, breathless. Something wasn't right. Even through the radio, I could feel it. The patient was taken to the stabilization room, but the place is strange. The lights are flickering. The system is down. We barely found anyone here. This was no ordinary emergency. It was an energy field, a loophole. While trying to contact his son again, the line went dead completely. No sound, no pulse, no explanation. But seconds later, she came back alone, and what I heard made me lean back in my chair. Steps, boards, wet, as if bare feet were walking on soaked ground, and a breath, not human, but not entirely animal either. A whisper made of steam and pain. Suddenly, the boy's voice reappeared, but not like before. Now he was crying. "He's here. He's inside the hospital." I tried to keep my voice steady. "Where exactly are you?" "South Wing Corridor," but everything went black. "And he doesn't walk. He glides. The shadows follow him." Then something approached the line, and I heard, not with the ears, but with the body, a familiar female voice, closer than ever, whispered, "Samuel." I lowered the volume, almost instinctively, but the sound didn't diminish, as if it were straight to my inner ear, through the bone, through the flesh, through the soul, and then a laugh, not loud, not hysterical, but intimate, like someone who just met someone they loved and waited for decades. The connection burst into noise, then silence. I went back to the ambulance channel. 042, do you have contact with the patient? Silence. Then the paramedic's low voice. "Samuel, she asked me to let you know. She said she's expecting you now." Dry cut. End of transmission. My fingers trembled over the keyboard. I needed to understand. I needed to connect the dots. 2 calls, 2 repeated names, 2 endings that seemed like open doors, and a pattern that made no sense to the physical world. I went back to the call log system, Mobile Unit 042. The same ambulance that responded to the Marilyn Hart home incident was the one sent to the hospital on Cahuenga Boulevard. And, days earlier, for another incomplete call, a case of mental confusion near Laurel Canyon. All addresses, when placed on the map, formed a perfect curve, like an unfinished circle, or better, a ritual in motion. I spent the night re-listening to the audio clips. Even though the protocol prohibited the reproduction of distorted recordings without authorization, I needed to know, and what I heard destroyed me. On the call from the lady in Sunset Plaza, the voice that whispers, "He promised me," appears twice, but the third time, she says something else, something that, at night, I hadn't been able to capture. "He will use the help. The red light will bring my soul." The red light from the ambulance. Marilyn Hart didn't want to be rescued. She wanted to go back, and he used emergency calls as return rituals. Every patient passed out. Every mind is fragile. It was a door, and the attendants. We were the drivers. I recorded everything in a hidden report, a personal file, the last note. All occurrences involved mention of the name Samuel, but none of the patients knew me, not even family members, not even the records, not even the calls. The name was always on the other side. The question that burned inside me was, how does she know my name? And worse, why does she keep repeating him? 03H57. The hospital was out of communication. Mobile Unit 042 was considered operational silent. Nothing came in, nothing came out. And on my system, as all the data was erased, a single number remained active. No origin, no operator, flashing red, line 1, on call, but no one had answered. And yet, The voice channel was open. I took a deep breath. I put on the headphones. For long seconds, I heard nothing. Then, very far away, a piano sound. The same 3 notes. Day, see, get, and then, she. Not with a voice of pain, nor of fear, but for sure. You know it was always you, Samuel. I swallowed hard. That wasn't a recording. It wasn't delirium. Why are you doing this? I murmured. My voice came out weaker than I imagined. The response was immediate. Because you promised me. And I waited. I waited while my body burned, while the world forgot me. You said you would come back. The sound of chains returned, dragging, tearing the silence. I looked around. The central room was empty, but the temperature had dropped dramatically. From the end of the line, she spoke as if she were inches from my face. Now it's your turn to be served, Samuel. Let the red light guide you. And at that moment, the central alarms went off. Not by fire, not due to electrical failure, but because, in the monitoring system, a new occurrence arose. Same number, same name, destination, my address. The emergency system had just received a call. Patient in nervous breakdown. Name, Samuel Reyes. Location, 911 dispatch, night shift. The screen flickered, and in the last second before the light goes out, I saw a written message, as if someone had typed it for me. I promised I would come back. The line went dead, but the sound did not disappear. Am I scared? Yes, but I'm still here, talking to you. I know something supernatural was lurking around me that night. Something that used those calls as a bridge, as an echo of an old Marilyn Hart scream. And I can't say that all of that is over. By the way, when you hang up now, you might hear it too. Whispers on your phone line. If you listen, do not answer. Good night. Since that night, I have never heard a phone ring the same way again. Every call I receive, every doorbell, every unknown number, carries the echo of what I heard that morning. And the worst part, the number from that call still appears, from time to time. No name, no origin, just presence. I've already changed my address. I've already changed jobs. But no matter where I am, she always finds a way to remind me, you promised. Now, after hearing all this, I can only give you one piece of advice. If you ever answer a call, and on the other side there is no one, just a faint whisper, an ancient song, don't speak, don't answer, and above all, never say your name. Maybe you promised something too, and have forgotten. But she doesn't forget. If this story gave you chills, click the link pinned in the comments and dive even deeper into the horror with our exclusive ebook. Inside, you'll find never-before-seen reports, forbidden cases, and stories that never made it to the air because no one had the courage to tell them, until now. See you there, if you are brave enough to open that next door.